and Happy New Year. Welcome to a very special pre-recorded Z Companion Insight for you this New Year's Day. We hope you're enjoying the celebrations at home. Do join us for the next 30 minutes. We're going to be looking ahead in this program to some of the big news stories coming up in 2018. And joining me for this special show, we have a statistician and a business analyst. Madhav Turumela is here. And Madhav, you, amongst many things, were able to predict in your role the Donald Trump presidency, the outcome, more or less, of the recent UK election and that closing of the gap between Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn, yes, and Brexit as well.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I know you're very modest, but you work with figures and you look at them very closely. And whilst many pundits and analysts were going off in different directions, what was different about you? Why were you able to get some of these big events right?
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me, Chetan. And I wish GTV viewers a very happy and prosperous New Year. Regarding the election outcomes or the predictions, it is basically looking at the numbers in a different way than, when it comes to statistics, there are time series statistics and there are predictive statistics. Time series is when you are looking at a certain certain things that are happened in the past. If somebody is regularly coming from 9 o'clock, he's coming to Harrow on the Hill station. Okay, you would say today also he would come at 9 because that is called as time series. Regularly is coming. But what if there is a cyclone or there is a terrorist incident or something like that? Will he come? We don't know. So that's the prediction.
So you were looking at the other factors in all these events, not just the more basic things that perhaps others were looking at. We're not necessarily going to be getting Madhav's exact predictions for the news stories in 2018. He wants to make that very clear, but it's useful to have that mind as we look ahead to some of the big events that will be taking place. And Madhav is also a trained, qualified Hindu priest. He's also a member of the Conservative Party, and it's fair to say your politics is to the right. And so for balance, I'll be certainly offering some opposition if I sense any bias across this program. Of course there won't be with Madhav here.
No, today I'm here as a statistician and an analyst, so I would keep the other hats away.
Okay, we'll see how long that lasts. Coming up on the program across the next 30 minutes, these are the stories we'll be looking at. We'll be talking Brexit. How is 2018 going to pan out for Theresa May ahead of course, Britain's official exit in the spring of 2019? And what will Jeremy Corbyn be thinking about as well, having closed the gap in the most recent election, dreaming of another snap election, no doubt. He's been talking about how he eyes 2018 as a significant year to be possibly Britain's next Prime Minister. Also on the programme, we'll be looking ahead to Donald Trump. How's he getting on? Over a year into his presidency, will he still be president this time next year? The Russia investigation hangs over his head, of course, and alleged links to Russia. And that investigation continuing and expected to be concluded across this year. And what about the royal wedding? Will Donald Trump be invited? There's been a backlash here in the UK. That's Prince Harry's fiancée, soon-to-be wife, Meghan Markle, who's made no secret of her definitely, I'm trying to think of the right word here, but without doubt, her uncertainty around Donald Trump and whether he's really the right man. Will Prince Harry be opting for the Obamas over Trump, and will he be left waiting for an invite? We're also going to be looking at Pakistan and the upcoming elections. It's a big year for that man, Nawaz Sharif. Who could be in charge of Pakistan come the end of this year? Imran Khan, of course, and his party are making strong inroads. And the Pakistan People's Party, Bilal Bhutto, they're also hoping for a significant success story this year. Will it really happen, though? We'll be talking about that. And we'll also be looking to Bollywood comebacks as well, as Aishwarya Rai, Kareena Kapoor and Rani Mukherjee are all set to release big films. We'll be seeing if this could be the year that Bollywood returns to a strong showing right across the year. Plenty to come then across the next 30 minutes. We're going to start with Brexit. Madhav, something that you predicted. Many people thought it was going to be close when we had that referendum, but ultimately we would choose to remain. That hasn't happened. Here we are then, post the snap election, Theresa May just about in charge and in control. And 2018 is a significant year for her to try and negotiate the best deal possible for Britain. What do you think her chances are of that and the European Union giving Britain what it wants?
My total support to Theresa May and her team, because she deserves respect for what she's doing, and with all these weather that is going against her, I believe she's doing the best. Having said that, the Brexit itself was driven on rather sentiment than the fact. So that, as a statistician, it never actually went down well with me personally. That's my personal.
There was a lack of facts.
Lack of facts. Lack of scientific and statistical facts. So, for example, imagine that there is an aeroplane with 60 passengers inside flying, and then all 60 decided, let's get down here in the middle of the flight. And whose opinion will prevail? Is the pilot and co-pilot's opinion prevails, or the 60 passengers' opinion prevail? It is the pilot and co-pilot, because they know the best.
There was a lack of leadership, is what you're saying, across that.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
Many people would.
Leadership, I tell you, I think having observed the political leadership within UK, they do produce pretty good leaders. I don't think
there's leaders within politically, but in terms of when that Brexit campaign happened,
yes.
Was there really a strong enough leader on both sides giving us facts? Because as you said, there was really a lack of facts, and the general public went out and voted on a lot of mistruths, as we've subsequently found out.
Interestingly, Theresa May belonged to the Remain camp.
She did, and she's since converted, which is why a lot of people in your party don't want her there, because they want someone who is a Brexiter.
Not really. See, one has to see. When public vote, okay, then if in case all 60 passengers decide, let land the plane here, and sometimes maybe the pilot is actually has to land there. Who knows? So coming back to the statistical facts of it, basically after the whole thing is done, after Brexit became the reality, it was a rude awakening for a lot of leaders who whipped up the sentimental sentiment. So they whipped up a lot of sentiment, and then they thought, okay, what was the overwhelming argument was that in UK will be a winner in terms of actually trades and things.
Well, this is all the things that we were told, including by Boris Johnson, who I know you will be supporting as a Conservative member. That Boris Johnson just one of them, of course, but there are many people that did promise lots of things that we're still waiting to see, like all the money the NHS was going to save. I want to look at this article from the Financial Times. This is Tony Barber looking ahead in the FT to what Brexit might look like in 2018. It'll say that for Theresa May, the British goal will be to gain maximum access to EU markets and at the same time reclaim extensive amounts of national sovereignty. So really cherry picking, if you like. That's Britain's dream, isn't it, to get exactly what it wants. The EU's not going to make it that easy.
It won't. Unfortunately, as I said, there was no proper scientific validation that was done earlier. But interestingly, only 10 days back, I think on 17th of this month, University of Birmingham academicians came up with a study, and I was very keenly. I read their paper, and it takes a very interesting viewpoint, and they have created their own index called WOID, which is World Input-Output Database. World Input-Output Database, because the argument is about the exposure, how much exposure really UK has to EU, and who is going to be the winner. So so that means there are lots of processing plants, there are lots of businesses that are spread across the European Union. Okay, and so they have done this index, and I was taken aback because this index says that UK has more to lose because of the Brexit than previously thought. So UK is 4.6 times higher chance to exposure is 4.6
so
times
basically
higher.
A lot of the decisions that were made weren't given proper thought process, and now we're sort of left with the reality of the situation, which many people hadn't foreseen. In terms of Theresa May, because we've got to move quickly, we've got lots of stories to get through, do you still see her surviving by the end of this year? Because she can't really afford many Commons defeats. We know the rumblings in the party. I mean, she lost her majority, took that terrible gamble in the end for the snap election, which backfired spectacularly, lost the majority. Now she's having to deal with the DUP and we're in coalition of sorts. Will she last at the end of the year, do you think?
I think she would last, but unfortunately she is...
she's damaged, isn't she? Doesn't have much of a future beyond 2022.
Good analysts surrounding her to actually advise her what exactly would... I mean, that the snap election was uncalled for. Because everyone knew that this is actually the Brexit heat. What is the ground reality is different from what exactly sitting in the.
Well, there wasn't the arrogance of the Conservative Party because there was that sense of, oh, Jeremy Corbyn, he doesn't stand a chance, does he? Let's call an election now, get a massive majority. That is what Theresa May was dreaming of, and then she could really push through the Brexit that the Tories wanted. They didn't take Jeremy Corbyn seriously enough.
I don't call it as arrogance. Maybe because what I see it as, I think, because, see, Theresa May came into because David Cameron resigned, and after that Theresa May rather was pushed into that position, and maybe she really thought that, okay, perhaps it is time for me to call for my own mandate and so that, I'll get that mandate and go there. But what has happened was, after the Brexit announcement, and between Theresa May's election, there is a sea change in the public opinion.
And that's the thing, isn't it? They're out of touch with that public opinion. True. I think, has to be said about the Conservative Party.
It is. I wouldn't call it as arrogance.
Maybe it isn't, but you're saying this is the Conservative Party.
Maybe I'm sympathetic.
A party that you support. Well, you're clearly sympathetic, but many people will say that they should.
I sympathize Theresa May. I don't know why. Because
that's very clear, Madhav. There'll be plenty of people watching who have sympathies for Jeremy Corbyn, who really did come on the outside. True. It was 30+ seats for Labour in the end. He really has stamped a claim. And here we are at the start of 2018, possibly talking about Jeremy Corbyn as a future Prime Minister, which I think this time last year many people thought was just the stuff of dreams. I look at this article from iNews, Jeremy Corbyn giving an interview at the back end of the year into the new year. He says he's avoiding alcohol, he's eating energy bars. That's all to ensure that he's fit enough to lead Labour and be Prime Minister well into his 70s. He says he's ready for a snap election if one was to be called this year in 2018, or certainly for the next election in mid-2022. Madhav, what is it about Jeremy Corbyn that attracted especially so many more young voters to him, that has energised and excited people, unlike the leader of your party, the Conservative Party, who very few people are getting excited about?
As I said, I'm actually not here as a member of Conservative Party. I'm here as a statistician, somebody who reads newspapers. Okay.
You are, but of course your affiliation is with the Conservatives. So you're not representing them, but I'm just asking you, what do you think it is about Jeremy Corbyn that is connected with people?
I am somebody, as you already mentioned, I'm somebody who predicted Jeremy Corbyn's rise to power and coming very close to. The reason is that you must see the Brexit's effects. There are a lot of what you call, there is a butterfly effect which has taken place. Statistically, butterfly effect, you're familiar with it, where if a butterfly actually flaps its wing in Pacific, it might generate a cyclone in Atlantic, something like that. So there is this statistical effect that takes place. There's a Politico survey, which, I mean, there are other surveys because I do my own surveys using, my big data. There I figured that the 24-year-old, below 24-year-olds, 75% of them did not want Brexit to happen. So they all woke up.
And they were politicised, weren't they? They decided that maybe in previous elections not so exciting. For many it was a first election to vote in, that they would go out and vote for Jeremy Corbyn. But you've already said, I've already asked you this, that you still see Theresa May in power come the end of the year, so it'll still be one that Jeremy Corbyn is waiting for. But the local elections that happen in May in many places, London, Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, Newcastle, other major cities in the UK will have their local elections this spring. That will be an interesting one to watch. Labour will be looking to make some significant inroads there. in certain places?
I see, again, British politics, the very wise people, Britishers actually, we are all elections. So what I would say is that local elections are normally different from the national elections. The mandate within the local election doesn't normally reflect in the national election.
But Jeremy Corbyn has said he's really hoping to make gains and again keep this momentum going. It's important for him that they do, or I guess for Theresa May
so they
as
may
well.
be fighting on both fronts, like local as well as national issues are different from local issues. So there are maybe local issues which actually is so I believe it's they're going to gain. Yes, there are going to be some good gains for Labour Party. The reason is not.
We still kind of got a prediction out of you. I know you've been keen not to, but there you are. We got something. Let's move on. Let's move on to a bit of US politics. Yes. This is something that you predicted too when most pundits, politicians, political commentators, journalists were saying Hillary Clinton was going to be president in 2016. You said it would be Donald Trump, and indeed that is what has transpired. And here we are in 2018, over a year into his presidency. And I guess one of the things that's looming over is this investigation into Russia. This is the CNBC article on Robert Mueller's continued investigation. This is about alleged links between Donald Trump's campaign and the Russian government in terms of having an influence in the election. Donald Trump says that he's guilty of absolutely no wrongdoing. They've rubbished this investigation, essentially, and Donald Trump, talking about fake news and a vendetta against him, says there's no truth in it. The reality, and just to bring you up to date on where we are, 2 Trump campaign advisors have been indicted. They're set to face trial. 2 others are now cooperating witnesses. The president himself, at the moment, under scrutiny for potential obstruction of justice. Again, he denies any wrongdoing. Several Trump advisors have acknowledged having contacts with people tied in the Russian government during the campaign. We know some of these conversations involved getting dirt on Hillary Clinton. But this is a complex area, and there could be some collusion that indeed is not illegal. So this is what Robert Mueller, who's investigating all of this, needs to look at. The president is hoping that this investigation comes to end early in 2018. Many commentators are saying it could rumble on even now into next year. We won't get down in the details of this investigation because neither of you or I are privy to it. Yes. But how much of a cloud is this over Donald Trump's presidency, Madhu?
I think we have terribly underestimated the democratic will. Just like how in UK we underestimated the power of Jeremy Corbyn coming in, the same way in America we underestimated Trump coming in. So there is a reason why America has got an electoral college. There is a popular vote and there's an electoral college vote within America. So statistically looking at it, when you look at the Trump when he came in, so I was looking at how much advertisement each one is putting through. There is a television advertisement and print media advertisement, and there is an internet advertisement. So statistically speaking, both Hillary Clinton and Hillary's campaign and Trump's campaign, they both have launched near simultaneously the same kind of advertisements and exposed to the. But basically, Hillary's camp exposed the advertisements more to the American homes than Trump did. That was the...
And Hillary Clinton, in her book, has also been claiming that, of course, that Russia was able to interfere online and there were more fake stories about her campaign. We certainly also know that Donald Trump spent less money than the Democrats and the Hillary Clinton campaign, certainly on television advertisements. I want to move away, though, and kind of project ahead a little bit. I know you're talking about why he won.
We need to understand the will of the American voter.
But I think it was clear
People did vote. No. It's not about winning. It's about who make him win. It is the American voter who voted in the ballot box, and then the electoral college, which is actually looking into, because see, electoral college is there so that it's just like pilots will decide where the plane will land.
Well, he lost the popular vote, didn't he?
This is exactly so.
Fewer people voted for him.
I don't believe that. Chetan, look at it. Actually, when people are flying in an aeroplane, if 60 passengers decide, okay, I'm going to land here, pilot will decide where it will land. So the popular vote means uninformed people. If in case some people say that, okay, this is where I'm going to land. Okay, so
well, there are people that want to change the way that the system works.
Nobody is changing.
Well, the referendum worked differently. Well, that wasn't under an electoral college system. It was your one vote counted.
Chetan, Trump is legally elected.
No one's saying he isn't.
Yeah, exactly. So legally elected means there is a reason why there is an electoral college. So basically, it is everyone knew, even Clinton's campaign knew, and also Trump's campaign knew. But the struggle here is that they say that somebody else has actually done something, but it's the American voter who decided to vote. So you have to look at.
But they're talking about there was interference. I don't think they're alleging that there was anything rigging in terms of the elections.
Okay,
they're saying that there was fake stories put out, that was the direction that the American public that then voted in the ballots box was taken
fake stories?
on wrong things.
What fake stories?
Well, we haven't got Hillary Clinton to answer that. But I know you're a Donald Trump supporter. Why do you think?
No, I'm a supporter of Americans. I'm a supporter of people. See, I'm a statistician.
But you're one of those people who does talk well of Donald Trump. Do you think he's doing a good job?
He is extremely. He's doing a very good job. Actually, by the way, American economy is improved significantly after Donald Trump came in. That is the truth, statistical truth. So American economy has improved. Look at it. Don't actually vilify elected president of America, because there is a reason he is actually elected, and then let him do his job. Instead, you're hunting him down.
He had a good year in 2017?
No, he did not. Actually,
why not?
After getting into it's like a Game of Thrones. After he got into the presidency, no one allowed him to breathe freely and do what he really wanted to do.
Well, you say no one allowed him to breathe freely. Donald Trump fired the FBI chief, James Comey, and that led to all sorts of news articles that were questioning his mental state, which I think has been a continued theme of 2017 and no doubt could be in 2018. The Charlottesville rally that happened, and he decided to equate to neo-Nazis, white supremacists in the same breath as people that were protesting against them. That led to huge criticism from the Republican Party, his own party, and of course people from all politics and around the world. The Muslim travel ban, a third version of which finally went through in December. Again, big opposition to that. He had a go at players not kneeling in the NFL because of racial injustice, decided to get involved with that and pick fights on Twitter, winding up North Korea's leader on social media by calling him the Rocket Man. A succession of firings. Most people from his campaign team have now gone or changed their jobs. Continued women who come out and talk about alleged sexual assault. He having a go at Sadiq Khan on Twitter. I mean, I'm reading off a list here. I could probably be going and going. This is Donald Trump.
Now let's talk about
this is the man who's in charge of most powerful country in the world.
Is this vilification? Is it familiar with the UK where Jeremy was vilified? You remember that?
This isn't vilification. These are facts. This is what he has done, and this is the presidency that we have seen and people have observed. This is why Theresa May, when he retweeted Britain First, said, "What are you doing? This is a racist far-right group." What did he do? He waited 2 weeks before he even spoke to her, and again hit out on Twitter.
Okay.
I'm not having a go at Donald Trump.
This is how I see him. This is how I see him. What I'm seeing him as a non-hypocrite guy who actually wears his heart on his sleeve, and he says that this is what I did and this is what I think, and that is a very good thing for a political leader to have, than we hide something and having a stiff upper lip and actually hide your intentions to do all sorts of nonsense, and in a public you put a good face is not right. So what Trump is doing, everyone knows. If imagine a way where Trump decided to hide each and every negativity of him, then would you be making the very same comment?
Anyone would ever say that Donald Trump is trying to hide any negativity of him.
So
but the point is, when he became president, to bring the country together.
The question is, who is actually vilifying? Who is actually calling him bad? So the thing is,
but no one's calling him bad in these stories. These are just mere things that he did. The world is there to pass
opinion,
judgment.
exactly. It's actually
it's not an opinion, Madhav. These were the actual facts. Moving on, because it's a big year for Pakistan as well. 2018. It'll see the general election. Many people at play in this particular election. Nawaz Sharif, of course, recently disqualified. Up until that point, would have felt that he was in a strong position with the Pakistan Muslim League. We'll look to see what will happen with them. Imran Khan, of course, as well, the former cricketer, looking to make inroads. And then you've got Bilal Bhutto, who we spoke about on Z Companion site recently, of course, under the legacy of his mother, trying to get the PPP back into contention. Many people, though, with the Pakistani election, Madhav, will feel that whoever's got the blessing of the army and to some extent the United States will be the one that wins. But it's really the military that will play a key role in this. Is that fair?
Pakistan is going to be a significant year this year, but I don't think US has got much say in the political system within the Pakistan. It's the military. But suddenly what military had done very recently is that they have all of a sudden announced support to two ultra radical parties. One is Milli Muslim League, which is is MML, which is run by Hafiz Saeed, and the other one is Tilra, which is actually Khadim Hussain. So these two are very, very radical. And MML is also supported by Pervez Musharraf, who was the military dictator of Pakistan. And so there are, these are going to be very significant times for Pakistan, because I believe one of the very radical Islamic party would prevail because of these changing scenarios. So we might see a completely new party coming into the place in Pakistan.
That's interesting, because again, you were not going to make predictions, but that's your sense
exactly.
or gut of what's happening at the moment, although it is of course January, and that election is in the summer. We'll wait and see what happens with Pakistan, no doubt discuss that election on Z Companion Insight. Bollywood, I know you're more old school Bollywood than new school Bollywood, although these three actresses that are going to be making their comebacks across 2018, hoping to revive the Hindi film industry. Recently we had Padmavati, which was supposed to be a big hit across the end of the year, which got delayed for reasons, but people upset about the religious sentiment around aspects of the film. These three make their comeback. That's Rani Mukherjee. We'll see Aishwarya Rai Bachchan. She's coming back as well. And Kareena Kapoor, Veera the Wedding, one of the films. I know we were talking about this before, you were talking about Monisha Koirala, but these are three iconic Bollywood actresses. How important is it? I mean, they're all coming back from motherhood, if you like, all expecting these big hits. It's crucial, isn't it, for Bollywood, not just as the Hindi film industry and how it performs in India, but right around the world, to have big hits. And perhaps in 2016 there haven't been as many of them, 2017 rather, as many hits as people would like. 2018 could really be the year that we get some big success stories back into the Hindi film industry.
The film is always a creative industry, and how you appeal to the sentiment of the person and the viewers. So if you have a fantastic story, it runs pretty well. So for example, Bahubali was a worldwide phenomena. Bahubali as a story, and nobody knew. It was not a Bollywood story, it was a Telugu story. Telugu people made it, and in a sense there are lots of films that make pretty well, because it is, at the end of the day, it is the people who are the viewers who actually matter most. So coming back to Rani and Rani Mukherjee and Aishwarya Rai Bachchan and Kareena, all three are brilliant actors, and especially Kareena Kapoor is I think way ahead in terms of how, I think she's going to her movie, what she's actually bringing in would be more because the storyline, by the way, as I said, I'm old
You're
school
not a big fan, but
exactly.
And you're not going to give us an exact prediction, but you think that might be the biggest film. Plenty to look forward to in 2018. Across the companion site, we'll be looking at the mother. Just before we go, the royal wedding. It's probably going to be one of the big kind of events for everyone in Britain to look forward to. Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, of course. Meghan Markle's not made any secrets in the past of calling Donald Trump, dare I mention him again, although we've got about a minute, so we're not going to get into all of that again.
Right.
But she'd called him a misogynist, divisive figure. Do you think you'll see there will be an invite for Donald Trump to this wedding? Do you think that will happen?
Yeah.
And also, short answer on this, the state visit that's been proposed.
Yes.
MPs in Parliament, Jeremy Corbyn is one of them, been talking about protests when Trump comes for the sort of divisive politics that he's shown in their opinion. Do you see that state visit happening with the full rights, Buckingham Palace and everything else?
Yeah, I think it should happen.
You think it should happen? Do you think it will happen?
It should happen.
We'll wait and see. Those are some of the news stories that we'll look ahead to. We won't hold you to that, Mother. Thank you for your time today. And we didn't have somebody on that exact other side of the politics, so I tried to challenge you where I could. Thank you for coming in today. Thank you all for watching. Have a very happy New Year. Enjoy the rest of your New Year's Day, and I'll be back with you tomorrow on Z Companion Insight. Until then, take care of yourselves.